Teacher tries to use my disabilities against me. I got her fired. This takes place in the fall of the 2016 to 2017 school year. I was a senior at the time. The teacher in question was an English teacher that I will call Ms. Dog because her name could also be a type of animal. Ms. Dog was particularly nice for the most part. She had a really high-pitched and nasally voice that she loved to hear at all times. The first day of school I introduced myself to her and asked if she read over my 504 plan. For people who do not know, a 504 plan is an accommodation plan used in public education when a student has certain disabilities that need accommodations. In my plan it stated that I'm a high-functioning autistic. I needed clear and concise written instructions and a special chair because of my spinal issues. I had scoliosis as a kid and had a spinal fusion operation my freshman year, so I was known as the girl with the back brace in middle school and the girl with the metal back in high school. Essentially, everyone in my grade, which was also everyone in this particular class, since it was English 12, knew I needed a special chair. Back to the first day of school, I introduced myself to Ms. Dog and asked if she read over my 504 plan. She brushes me off and does a, yeah, okay whatever, teachers are busy and their jobs already stressful. She probably has a million other things she had to have done. For the first week of class I had to take some pain meds to get through English. Ms. Dog would regularly get upset that I had brought a bottle of water to me with class every day and that I couldn't stay still in my seat. A classmate of mine, I'll call him Football Jock, spoke up and told the teacher that I do not have the special chair that I need. Ms. Dog took that as an insult and was ready to chew out Football Jock when pretty much the entire class started to speak and agree with him. The weekend passes, and Monday I find my chair/desk hybrid thing replaced with a special chair and a spare at desk. I had thought it was over. Oh boy was I fucking wrong. This was just the start. Fast forward to the middle of the semester, we had just finished reading Lord of the Flies, great book by the way, and we had an assignment to make a music soundtrack for a hypothetical movie of the book and explain what parts of the story would have what song played. Now I'm a big Vocaloid fan, so I went all out, but I made sure to use English covers of songs that weren't in English. After we get the grades for the projects I see that I got a C on it, which was really odd for me since I was a straight A student. I asked Ms. Dog about it and she told me her reasoning for the C was that I didn't know what any of those songs are. I was going to give you an F, but your written part and CD case were both perfect, so I gave you a C, all while not looking away from her computer screen. I wasn't happy with that answer. I told her, in the middle of class, when you said everyone did a good job, you mentioned that everyone's project had songs you've never heard before. Did you give everyone else an F as well? She turned to me with a big scowl before just turning right back to her computer, where I saw her change my grade to an A. Not the plus I wanted, but enough to save me from getting told off as home for getting a bad grade. And then comes the icing on the cake. All semester Ms. Dog had been doing things to kind of single me out. She always assigned me with the dumb kids of the class. No matter how stupid it sounds, this dude literally drew a picture when the question sheet said draw your own conclusions. And whenever Ms. Dog did this, I would always calmly and politely take it up with her, and she's fix it by next with a sneer. It's December, right before the holidays. Ms. Dog assigns a scholarly paper about a real social political issue with 3 sources. The topics of the essays were assigned to us randomly. We had no say and we couldn't even change them. So my topic was something along the lines of why Obamacare is bad. I was also taking a health occupation class at the school district's vocational tech center, and my grandmother is a licensed medical biller, meaning I know a thing or two about health insurance. A few days go by, and I cannot find a third source stating that Obamacare is bad. I ask Ms. Dog for help saying that I can't find a third source for my stance. She tells me 2 is fine then. I thank her for her help and get to work writing my essay. The due date is the day before the break and we all turn our papers in. One happy Christmas and New Year's later, and I get to English class. Ms. Dog is standing up at the front of the class as we all come in, which is really odd for her to do. The bell rings, and Ms. Dog starts her rant. I had high hopes for these papers. I had hoped you all would follow directions. She looks at me while making direct eye contact. I had hoped you all know that I told you all 3 sources, not 2. 3. She went into a yelling tantrum about how someone didn't have 3 sources, making eye contact with me the entire time. I'm the kind of person to cry whenever someone is yelling in anger. It doesn't matter if it's directed at me or not, I'll cry. So after her rant I took my stuff and left the classroom. I think I had gone to the band area to hide until the next class. While in my crying solitude I finally said enough was enough. I'd usually just keep quiet about stuff like this. I was used to being teased for things since it happened a lot and I thought this was no different. But it was. This bitch needed to pay. I got up and went to the office. I hated going to the office, even though I never got in trouble. The feeling of just being in there just made me feel guilty. I asked to see the principal, and they let me. The principal of my high school was a very nice man that later went on to getting a position higher up in the school district after Jay had graduated. I sat down in the principal's office, and he was ready to hear the usual bullish spiel a crying student would say. I took a second to compose myself and said, Ms. Dog has been using my autism and scoliosis as a way to alienate me from the class and as a way to treat me as a lesser being in her class. She doesn't grade my work fairly, and she just screamed at me in front of the whole class to point out that I wasn't like the rest of the students in her class. I've never forgotten what I said, or the principal's face either. He sighed and muttered something along the lines of, Jesus Christ, not again with Dog. Turns out I was not the only autistic student that Miss Dog had done this to. Every student with autism or any other sort of mental or physical condition that put in one of her classes was given this treatment by her. I decided to keep it going. It was already over for her, so why not make it as good as I could? Miss Dog has also repeatedly shown me mental abuse during class by doing this bullshit and that bullshit. I went on for I don't remember how long with glorifying the events of everything that had happened in that class. Miss Dog looked at me, well, as the student with a mental disability. I say that she emotionally abused me during class by harassing me with hurtful looks. I hate using my autism in a scummy way like that, but in this case I played it up so much that I should have gotten an Oscar. I said how she'd constantly threaten to fail me for my autism, how she'd give me bad grades for me autism, how she did so many more things that may or may not have happened because of my autism. I also made sure how most times her class was physically painful for me on most days because she would take my special chair to use as a footrest and make me sit on an uncomfortable stool, which was true. She did take my chair quite often and then scold me for bringing a water bottle into the classroom when I had to take some meds for the pain. I was Michelangelo, and all these accusations against Miss Dog was the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. My masterpiece. I don't snitch, but when I do I squeal like a pig. Every single wrongdoing that Miss Dog had done to me, and others in my class as well, were told to the principal that day. For the rest of the semester I had to spend the time I'd be in English in the main office. I was exempt from the exams for the class and had automatically passed due to my flawless straight A's and 3.7 GPA. I had learned that the day of exams, the principal had gone to Ms. Dog's classroom when first period started. He told her that she wasn't allowed to administer the exams, and that he would instead, because she was fired and needed to get her personal belongings and leave the school property immediately. I don't know how true the part where she was fired in front of students was, since I was told that part by other students from the rumor mill, but I know for sure that she was indeed fired. But that wasn't it. I was in marching band in high school, and my school's band was about 300 kids my senior year. My grandma also did their student accounts. I told my grandma to send a newsletter out to all the marching band parents about how they need to be aware that some teachers are not there for the best interest of their students, and we made sure to put Miss Dog's name in it along with her crimes against Little Old Maine. 300 students, which meant around 600 or more parents. Parents that work at other school districts in some cases. Ms. Dog is no longer allowed to work at any school or educational facility. She is also not allowed to work at places that work with disabled people. Last thing I heard of her, she was working 3 part-time jobs in fast food. Not 2. 3. I really hope that Taco Bell is one of those places that she works at, because Obamacare and the 2 credible sources saying it was bad is no longer a thing.